Many thanks for staying with us here on News Desk. Now to some more stories. Now, the information we are getting suggests that judicial service workers are threatening a strike over government's failure to pay their consolidated salaries since June 2015. Let's try and get a lot more on this from JUSAG President Alex Nate, who's joining me on the phone lines now with a lot more on this planned action of DS. In fact, if even it is true in the first place. Mr. Nate, good morning. Many thanks for joining us here on News Desk.
Good morning, my brother.
So, JUSAG members, you really want to go on strike?
We have resolved to go on strike if government does not get back to us positively by 31st December.
31st of December?
March, sorry.
31st March. That's by the end of this month.
Maybe because the 31st December is not too far away.
Interesting.
But we mean 31st March.
What are your concerns? What are your issues with government? You were suggesting that some money, some consolidated money is supposed to be paid to you are not being paid. Is that the case?
Yes, my brother, we need to strengthen our judiciary and the judicial service. You and I agree that we need an efficient and effective judiciary and judicial service. You cannot do that when you don't care what the conditions of workers who work there is.
Is that the case? You think government doesn't care about your conditions?
Yes. From what we deduce from the demeanor of government after the Honorable Chief Justice has submitted a proposal regarding an approved salary that enable her to run the judiciary and the judicial service efficiently, and government has since not done anything about it. We are of the view that government doesn't have the judicial service at heart. That is why government could treat such an important proposal.
Mr. Nate, you do agree with me that the country is facing some challenges. Could it be because of some of these challenges, government does not really have the needed funds to, heed your needs at this time?
Whenever we have an issue and we tackle it from the angle you are seeking to come from, you are telling us that we should throw our hands in the air and say that we have no help. But anything that we place premium upon is protected and preserved. And one of them should be the third arm of government. And you cannot say you have a third arm of government when workers out there are desperate and are made vulnerable because of poor conditions.
So are you by this suggesting that some members of JUSAG have been compromised, have had to resort to other, should I say, illegitimate means because of some of these monies that have not been paid to you? Please,
the question you are bringing is not relevant.
Oh, really?
It is an unnecessary inference you are making.
You are suggesting that... wait, hold on, Mr. Nate, just a second. Mr. Nate, hold on. Mr. Nate, Alex Nate, hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. You just mentioned to me... Mr. Nate, you just mentioned to me that some of your workers, some of your members have become vulnerable because of this situation. And I'm just asking...
I'm saying that they are economically vulnerable because of poor conditions.
Okay, so at the first instance, you did not tell me... You did not provide this particular context, but you go ahead. You make your point.
Yes, but you see, when we are seriously discussing critical issues, you don't bring in issues that will compromise.
It is a critical issue. You go ahead. Go ahead. Make your point.
Yes, I'm done.
So, what you say you are giving government an ultimatum of March 31 to respond to these issues of yours. What really do you want them to do?
They know what we want them to do. The judicial service staff, both directors, deputy directors, and other administrative staff, as far back as 2012-2013, submitted a petition to the Judicial Council regarding our salaries. The Judicial Council set up a committee chaired by Nana Dr. S.K.B. Asante. They did an extensive work, looked at the 1992 Constitution, and came out with a proposal to the Judicial Council. The Judicial Council looked into the proposal and approved the report based upon the relevant laws. And so the Chief Justice forwarded this report to the President for implementation as far back as June 2015. We have since June followed up on this issue in vain. And we think that the issue is very urgent, that it ought not to have taken us the number of months it has taken us. If there was even any issue, we expected government to have come back to us early enough than the time it has taken. These are the issues we are raising.
Okay.
And the fact that workers are talking about their poor conditions does not make them, people who are irresponsible when they can.
But it's quite clear. It's quite clear if you're not paid well, you become vulnerable to quite a number of things, which obviously includes corrupt practices. That does not in any way suggest that judicial service members are corrupt.
When we have a platform to deal with implications of poor conditions of workers in general, then we can look at those issues.
I see. So, have you made your concerns known to the appropriate authorities?
My brother, obviously, that is what we have done.
As in using the media, have you officially, for instance, written to them to make inquiries as to why there's been a delay?
We haven't come to the media. We don't know how you got this information. Did I ask you for interview?
I called for the interview.
Hello?
Yes, I reached out to you for the interview.
Yes. So when you say we are using the media, what do you mean? You called me. Other than that, I wouldn't call you.
I'm only asking what other steps you have taken. You've decided to embark upon to ensure that these concerns of yours. I was
giving you background to the issue.
Yes, I do understand that, but now I need to know what steps you are taking to ensure.
Critical, steps we have taken, and beyond that, let me give you. We have met the Labour Minister more than 20 times on this issue. We have met the Chief of Staff, the Honourable Lady Chief Justice, in her effort to build a judiciary and judicial service that we all look for, led the Judicial Council to the office of the President, of which I was part. So if you want to know what concrete effort we have made, these are some of the efforts we have made that cannot be underrated.
So effective March 31, if your concerns are not heeded to, you are withdrawing your services or you are suspending your services.
That is what we have communicated.
Okay, all right. Many thanks for your time on Newsdesk this morning. And Alex Nate is president of the Judicial Service Workers here in Ghana. And they are saying that they've given government a March 31 ultimatum to respond to their needs, get to pay up monies due them, consolidated salaries they call it. They say it dates back as far as June 2015. They're giving government up to March 31 to make those payments. Other than that, they're going to suspend their services. We'll be keeping our eyes on this and bring you a lot more subsequently. But in other news now, and it was once a slave dungeon operated by the Danes and became a transit point from which thousands of slaves were shipped abroad. The Fort Princeton at Keta in the Volta region later became a major tourist site, generating revenue for the local government. But the fort is now a death trap tourists would no longer tour. Residents want government to renovate the structure as Ghana celebrates its 59th independence anniversary. Joseph Opohugapo visited the fort and has filed this report for a special Ghana Man series.
This is the Fort Princeton, built somewhere in the 1700s by the Danes, and this is where they used to bring a lot of the slaves, both from the Volta region area and even beyond, come keep them here and take them all the way to overseas in order to go sell. It remained a key site in terms of the history of the slave trade here in Ghana and other parts of the world. Well, it looks very good from the outside, but things really don't look good when you get inside it. Along the shores of the sea in the Keta municipality is this imposing edifice, Fort Princeton, also known as the Keta Fort. Painted black and white, the fort was built by the Danes in the 1700s with highly durable materials, including seashells. The fort has about 10 semi-detached storage structures which have served as dungeons for the slaves. Very intriguing stories have been told about it.
each of the dungeons take about 100 to 200 slaves. But initially, no ventilation. It was after when the fort was sold to the British, that was the time they created all this ventilation we are seeing today. So inside it, the slaves defecate, urinate, sleep there. They were dying through insanity condition. Even the water, they will pour it under the door. They have to use their tongue to lick it. Food were thrown to them through the window. They struggle for it. And finally, they use hot iron, which bear the name of the company or the company coat of arms to mark various parts of their body for easy identification.
Also here are striking artifacts.
We have the chains, shackles, where the slave bow before the governor select them. And then we also have the weighing scale, the grinding stone that they used to grind the corn. All those things are inside here.
Stories that will make you cringe.
So this is one of the dungeon where the hardened slaves were kept. You know, as you can see over here, the slaves were secured by two. They will chain one right leg to another left leg. With this mentally we are seeing on the ground over here. And the chain over there were used to chain their neck, their leg at that time. And we also have the helmet over there, the mentally cape over there, used by the slave masters.
And real stories you would find hard to believe.
And at that time, too, they realized that the slaves are suffering inside over here. They use their fingernails to scratch both the wall and the floor. They were trying to dig into the building and escape from them. At that time, too, our people were, they have powers that when they lean on the wall, they will just vanish. They will just say one or two words, vanish, and then the Danish got to know. They put a mercury in between the walls, and those that attempted got stuck. When the sea was destroying the fort, you can see human remains clearly shows that some of them attempted and they got stuck in between the walls of the fort.
All this history is on the verge of extinction. The sea has washed away half of the fort. The roof and the metallic gates have rusted. The upper brick structure has developed cracks and almost falling off.
The fort have not seen any renovation since then. So 10 years to come, this building will not be. So we have, when these buildings wipe away, we don't have anything to tell our children. Some people fear that when they get into the fort, it will collapse on them. So we do brief them outside.
Though a colonial relic, residents say the structure remains part of their history and deserves to be preserved so that never again would future generations indulge in slavery. They also want it renovated to serve as a revenue generation source for the community. For Joy News, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, Keta.